This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
It's also announced here that you, Chris Jericho, Steve Austin, and The Rock are going to have basically a miniature tournament to merge the WCW and WWF world titles together. That's a pretty big deal. You know, it's almost like a dream scenario from the old After magazines. What if this champion wrestled that champion? And of course, the whole invasion thing is now in the rear view, but we do have this WCW world title, so it makes sense to use it. Did you have any sort of idea what the creative was going to be when you first heard about this tournament?
I just knew that they wanted to combine the titles. They wanted an undisputed champion because WCW was no longer, and they picked, I guess, the top 4 guys that they thought deserved it. And I was actually surprised I was one of them, considering I was only in the business about a year and a half. So, you know, it was a lot of pressure on me at that particular time because I was still getting my feet wet as far as being a worker. So, you know, I was still learning and getting better each and every show that I did. So I was really surprised I was part of this, but, you know, for some reason they thought I was one of the top 4 guys in the company.
Do you think in hindsight, and of course hindsight's 2020, and we always say that here on the show, but do you think in hindsight it would have made sense to have one champion stick around Raw, one champion stick around SmackDown, and then build towards a WCW title versus a WWF title at WrestleMania? Or do you think the company was just ready to just wash their hands of all this invasion stuff and move on?
I think that Vince regretted doing it. That's what I think. I think it was a big headache for him. And I think he wanted to get it over and done by combining the titles. I think it's a great idea to have a world title on Raw and SmackDown and have a WWF versus WCW WrestleMania world title main event. That would have been awesome. I think the company would have made a lot of money on that. But I think Vince just wanted to be done with it.
There's talk with the emergence of Flair, of turning Raw and SmackDown into separate brands at the time. We sort of freestyled that earlier. Do you remember that ever being discussed? I mean, I think once upon a time, they even kicked around the idea of naming one of the shows Nitro. Of course, we know that didn't happen. And at this point, the All Things Alliance are in the rear view, but we're still a ways away from an official brand split. Do you remember it ever being discussed here in 01 to the best of your knowledge?
No, I didn't. You know, I think that was probably an idea that Vince had, and he had Rick do the promo. I think that he thought about that idea and it ended up festering into something. And I think that was the start of the brand split. At least the thought of the brand split is when Ric Flair said it on TV. And I think Vince kept that in the back of his mind. And a couple years later, he ended up doing the brand split.
So, hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.